may limit the extent of site characterization. We believe the current requirements are adequate and the proposed monitoring adds significant expense to property owners. The proposed regulations will also require sampling for minerals from on-site water wells. This is excessive if the intent is to monitor the impact of the system on groundwater. This is a list of the constituents to be sampled for. However, only nitrates and fecal coliform are necessary to evaluate the impact of the system. The estimated cost for the sample analysis is $700, and that's just for laboratory analysis. If you were to hire a consultant to go out and collect the samples, you could double that cost. The regulations will also require that septic tanks be inspected every 5 years. I have included the cost for pumping septic tanks because if the tank is inspected, the owner will probably have it pumped. Also, if there is not at least a 3-foot separation to groundwater, the requirement can be waived to 2 feet with supplemental treatment units. The system will need to be certified, equipped with alarms, and inspected at regular intervals. The cost for non-standard systems that are required due to site limitations now is $20,000, compared to $30,000 for a system with supplemental treatment. And then there is also the ongoing maintenance costs. These requirements not only increase the cost to homeowners, but place additional burden on county staff. The draft EIR assumes the regulations will be self-implementing. At a minimum, staff will have to spend more time consulting with designers, installers, and property owners, as well as review and revise county policies. And then there is the question of how we verify compliance. I request the board authorize HHSA to provide comment on the proposed regulations. Thank you.
Board comments. I think what we'll do is we'll start. Some members of the public want to speak on this. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Just come up to the podium, please. Submit your pink cards up here to the clerk, please. State your name for the record, please.
Okay.
Eric Crane. I've been asked to read into the record a letter that North Coast Builders Exchange received from Round Associates. Dear Honorable Board of Supervisors, I'm unable to attend your timed item on January 13th, but wanted to comment on my understanding of these regulations. I have read the 2-page summary prepared by the Mendocino County Health and Human Services Agency and concur with their analysis of further costs to existing and new owners of on-site waste water treatment system. Having performed site evaluations on thousands of OWTSs over the past 30 years, I have seen a progression of regulation from where OWTS failed fairly frequently to where they have failed very infrequently. This set of regulations is draconian at best. At worst, it attempts to make one shoe fit all and deals with a system in the Mojave Desert the same way as one in a temperate rainforest such as Humboldt and sometimes Mendocino County. I have participated in limited degree over the last 3 years in conjunction with California On-Site Wastewater Association to try to bring some local jurisdictional oversight to the regulations. The local county divisions of environmental health and under the review of the Regional Water Quality Control Board staff and are regulated by regional basin plans. For the most part, our attempts to interject some qualified local control have failed. This set of regulations will force a step backward from sustainable development where wastewater goes back to the soil on the site where it was originated and revert to collecting wastewater in concentrations which will then require public agencies to maintain and operate them. Those of you who have followed the Ukiah Valley Sanitation District, City of Ukiah sewer plant upgrade efforts over the past few years can have some appreciation for the problems that kind of system will bring. In closing, I would urge you to vehemently oppose these regulations in their present form because of the various unnecessary costs to everyone who has one of these systems. The benefits are not apparent. Like most people who reside in Mendocino County, I do not want to see our water quality degraded, but my practical experience indicates that degradation of water quality is not happening under the present system and is unlikely to deteriorate anytime soon because of all the safeguards already in place. Very truly yours, George C. Rao, engineer. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Steve Danlin? Danglin?
My name is Steve Dangler. I'm a member of Mendocino County, also Vice President of Nature Clean, one of the products and facilities that we could use for help working with our environmental situation here with septic systems. Now, I believe I was informed that about 75% of the systems in Mendocino County are on-site wastewater treatment systems. So we're dealing with a vast majority of Mendocino County. With that, what we have is a proposal that will totally inhibit or restrict beyond any compare of any previous legislation that has come forward. By only using the base and not the sidewalls, as it was explained, you're taking 1/3 of what you have there. If a standard system took 300 feet, you're now asking it to do 900 feet. This cannot be done. You're controlling and inhibiting the right of use of the land and for a homeowner to be able to use his property. What we really need here is a solution that does not, what we have seen here is how we're going to take care of this problem. The problem that they have done and their reaction to the problem is to say, let's put in monitor wells, let's set off distances as far as where water bodies are concerned, but they're still not dealing with the issues of what is really coming out of our wastewater systems. These are what really needs to be addressed, and we don't need to do that if we do it properly. With that in mind, restricting the use of the sidewalls, restricting the use of what we can do with these, we're touching a very large area. There is like 1.3 million septic systems in California alone. There's 600,000 wells in California. And with that, there are only 900 were tested here in the north region. So what we're gonna do is add extreme expense to an already expensive society, a society that is in recession, and what you're gonna do is make it cost prohibitive to actually maintain an existing system if it's not grandfathered in, or a system that you wanna put in to be able to use the land that you already own but have not built on yet. Now there's different ways of looking at this, but I would like to share with you one other thing that I have here, and that is also, and I'd like to email this to you. This is from CAR, California Association of Realtors. It's a nice brief way of looking at this Bill 885. And with that, I want to share that with you. So what we can do is we can come forward with positive suggestions, ones that create solutions, not restrictions. And that's what I'd like to see happen going forward with this motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Any
Steve.
questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Howard?
Good morning, Board. I think you've heard the minutia of this thing to a degree. I think there's a lot more. Some of the things that's not mentioned, this will do away with compost privies, gray water. There isn't one word of gray water in this entire piece of legislation. This legislation goes back to 2000. It's been in the workings and coming forward for quite some time. It was a blank bill given to the regulators to say, take care of our problem, regulators, and this is the way they did it. The problem comes in the fact that now we're down to the nitty-gritty. These things are, February 9th is coming very rapidly. I'd like to make a couple suggestions to this board. I like the suggestions from staff, but I think they're